BasilMontreal.com, the Republican candidate for governor.
Have sexual relations with
I realize that this is something he is
We're not going to be able to solve our problems if we get distracted by sideshows and carnival barkers.
One Republican, one Democrat, and you discuss the issues that matter in today's local, state, national, and global politics. Hosted by Steve Hickson with co-hosts John Stanberry and Franklin Chansey. This is Backfire.
Hey, good morning, Cleveland. This is Steve Doball Hickson, and I am back with Backfire with Franklin Chansey and John Stanberry and our chief engineer, Daniel Brantley. I'm here.
Well, we're glad to have you back.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Daniel was so tired last week from having to do everything.
Something happened. I was reading in the banner last night, Bachman Academy closes. I sure hate to
I do too.
see that. I've got a lot of friends. I went to school with a lot of the kids that came through that system down there years ago, bust into the school system.
Apparently, the foundation's going to stay active in some way. I'm not sure they're entirely sure.
Is it Bachman Home that's closing or Bachman Academy?
The academy's closing.
Okay, well, there's a difference, I think.
Who actually owns that?
Well, I think it's a foundation, from what I understand. I think what Franklin's alluding to is it hasn't been Bachman Home for a while, 10 years, 15 years. They transitioned from a actual home to more of a school setting, and I'm not sure on a reality basis what that meant. They still serve sort of the same function and need, but it's been a wonderful effort and outreach in the community.
Well, I know that that school has done a lot of good, and I hate to see it close, but maybe something good will come from it.
Well, it may just be transitioning. Like I said, the foundation I think is going to remain.
Well, the school had been operating as a private school, basically. For tuition, you pay a fee to attend there. It's not really been the same thing that we were thinking of growing up in our youth in the community. So I'm not sure.
I mean, I think they lost some of their funding through some grant money, too.
I don't know.
Well, honestly, they may have lost some of the charitable support that they had also in that transition.
The city council is directing the school board to further review the new tech school that Bradley High School is talking about building over here out of.
Well, they're probably trying to clear up some extra funds to make sure that they can build the indoor tennis courts, because that's a need in our community. That's a priority. I mean,
where's the indoor tennis courts?
I'm not sure. They've talked about doing it over where the tennis courts are at Tinsley. People are dying without indoor tennis, and so it's clear we need that, and obviously we need a tax increase to be able to build indoor tennis courts. I actually this week told several of the county commissioners that they were going to fall behind, what with the city, really hitting our needs with an indoor tennis court. And I suggested that maybe the county should look into building an indoor curling rink. Curling's an up-and-coming sport, and a lot of people probably would be interested in that. And if it takes a tax increase to build an indoor curling rink, I think that's important. We have to remain competitive with the city building an indoor tennis court while they're raising taxes 29 cents.
Well, Lisa did tell me she would pay to watch you work with a broom. Okay.
Well, I'm glad the city council is pushing the city school board to really reconsider this technical school that the county's pushing out of a manufacturing plant that's sitting empty right now. But I don't think the city has any reason, or they don't seem to be interested in participating with the county in that, even though it would be good for the city and county.
That would mean that you'd have to prioritize taxpayer money. And, who wants to prioritize taxpayer money? It's an endless stream. We just raise it 29 cents when we need it.
Oh, Franklin, what's your opinion?
Well, on which issue?
Well, do you think the city, let me just get to where I want to go.
Okay.
Should the city and the county be a partner on this school?
I think it would be a wonderful thing if they can find a way to be a partner.
Let me, since we argue so much, absolutely agree with Franklin. The idea that we have to build 2 of these facilities would be ridiculous.
That's right. So why can't we just do one good one and get it over with?
Because our priorities aren't in order. Instead of worrying about how we streamline government to provide the most services for the people, we're more interested in us and them arguments, and we're more interested in wasting money on things like indoor tennis courts.
Well, I haven't, I've been gone all week, so I haven't heard anything about indoor tennis courts.
John, I don't know anything about it either, so I'm not disagreeing
I'm
with
not
John.
making that up.
I just
Well, where
haven't
are you
seen
getting it
this.
from?
It was in the paper.
Oh, it was? Okay. Well, I haven't been keeping up with the news much this week, but
I'm telling you, indoor curling rink, that's the next thing.
I think ice hockey's going to be the next.
No, curling.
I mean, the Predators are in the
They're hot.
playoffs.
We could
They're hot.
probably have a minor league team. You're right. If we just had an indoor ice rink.
All right. I want to ask you the next question, John. What do you think about record cost if you call them versus if the police call them?
Well, I can tell you, we've actually had a bad experience with that, and the police, from what I understand, are sort of in a bind. We had some people that were parking on private property, and apparently, if they're completely in your yard, the police won't call the wrecker. They have to have one tire in the road before the police will call the wrecker. The problem is, if you call the wrecker won't tow it off your property because they say you don't have permission to have the car towed, even though it's trespass. It's parked completely in your yard. So we found ourselves in that catch-22.
Well, do you think it could be because the wrecker drivers have worked out a deal with the police?
I don't know.
I mean, it sounds to me like it's $340 if the police call a wrecker, and if you call the wrecker, it's about a fourth that.
It doesn't sound good.
I mean, why wouldn't one wrecker price be a wrecker price? I guess because you have to stay on call at night.
Well, no, I mean, I would assume that if you call them whatever time you call them, there's whatever charge there is, and I agree with you. It ought to be the same. A call's a call.
But obviously, something's going on there. But it's being brought out and made public, so maybe there'll be more talk about it. I'm sure there's some bad wrecker experiences that's going on.
I can tell you one of the funniest part of that incident that I described with us is the car was parked, and this was something happening on multiple occasions. This wasn't a one-time event. When the policeman was explaining, and she was doing a great job explaining it to me. She said, I can't call them because it's not in the public right of way. I said, well, I guess then I can just take a baseball bat and break the front lights and the back lights out. No, then I would have to arrest you for vandalizing their car. And the reason I put that out is government too often does things without thinking about the unintended consequences, or sometimes thinking about how this thing's going to work. And when it doesn't work to the advantage of the hardworking tax-paying citizen, then you ought to be big enough to look at it and go, this isn't right, let's fix it. And I hope with the wrecker thing, they'll fix that.
Well, it sounds like it needs to be fixed, but it also sounds like it's been going on a while, so if anybody's had any bad wrecker experiences, please let us know. I guess what I would like to say now, what do you think about things that have happened under the Russia-Trump conflict this week? Is there any more proof that Russia has been involved with Trump on anything?
No, you can't say there is any more. There's not any to begin with yet.
Is there any proof?
Well, that's certainly not what John Brennan said.
That's what Dianne Feinstein said.
Well, are you talking about Trump personally?
Yeah,
or are you talking
collusion.
about
They said
members
there's
of
no-
his campaign?
They said there's no, and even Brennan said there's no evidence of any collusion.
Actually, that's not
And
what he
well,
said.
it depends on how you define the word collusion.
No, that's not what he said either.
What did he say?
He says, I'm not a prosecutor. I don't deal in evidence. I deal in in intelligence. There was enough intelligence to warrant further investigation, in his judgment. That's what he said.
Well,
he's the one who referred it to the FBI initially to begin with.
He also said that he regularly shared intelligence with the Russians as CIA director all the time. He said the CIA shares intelligence with the Russians all the time.
Sure, in areas of common interest, I would imagine so.
You want me to read you his quote?
Yeah.
I shared classified information with the Russians while I was director of the CIA. The CIA, on a routine basis, shares classified information with Russians on terrorism matters. It doesn't mean it becomes unclassified. It means that it maintains the classification but is releasable to Russia or other partners so that in itself it is not unprecedented.
When it advances the American interest. Sure.
And who decides that? The President of the United States.
No one ever said Donald Trump can't do what he did. We said it was stupid for him to do it.
Then why have we reported on it for a month?
Because it was stupid. Because
well, was it stupid when Obama did it?
Because if you read through the actual reports and read what's really happening, although they've been very kind about it in the media, the Israeli intelligence officials are livid about it because it did end up revealing where the information came from, which puts those assets at risk, which lowers the ability of us to get that information.
So they're so livid with it. That's why the Prime Minister of Israel said for the first time in his life he thinks there's an opportunity to achieve peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's right.
You want me to read that statement to you?
I did see it, John. I did see it.
Well, I mean, when are we? How many investigations do we have?
You're going to be dealing with this investigation for the next year.
Let me give you a reason why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because this weekend, when terrorists blew up a nail bomb in a crowded lobby of little girls, all the major networks, to be honest, except Fox, continued to cover the Russia story while breaking news was coming out about a huge terrorist attack on one of our allies. They couldn't even be bothered to break away from the Russia story to cover a nail bomb murdering 8-year-old little girls.
I watched 2 hours continuously of coverage on this on CNN that night. What are you talking about?
Because it broke it at 7 o'clock. CNN didn't even hardly mention it until after 8 o'clock. They didn't cut away to it until almost 9 o'clock. It had been going on for over 2 hours. And they were, matter of fact, at one point, Chris Matthews had live video stream behind him of people screaming in terror, and he cut away to go to a Trump FBI Russia story.
Okay. What in the world is going on?
By the way, CNN that he just mentioned.
It shouldn't be on the headline news right now, should it? I mean,
yes, it should be.
Why? What have they got to talk about?
When the former director of the CIA says that
appointed by a Democrat, Obama. Go ahead.
What does that got to do with it?
I just wanted to say that.
No,
I just wanted to say that.
Offensive. When did we get to the stage that every single person who works in the government, because they were once a Democrat or once a Republican, aren't patriots and loyal Americans
I'll tell you
anymore?
when the Obama administration, just like Hoover when he was FBI director, used government assets to actually surveil opponents of the other political party and then unmask them by the dozens and dozens. That's when we got there, Franklin.
You've been watching Hannity again and his freaky conspiracy theories, which even Fox News came out last night and said was a bunch of crock. You know, when Fox News shuts down their own people and said, we got to retract this goofy story he's been talking about for 2 weeks because it's totally false.
Wait a minute. Why is it? How do you know it's totally false?
That's what they said.
How do you know? How does
do
anybody?
Do you trust Fox News or not?
I'm asking you how anybody knows that story's totally false.
The question is, why would you be reporting it if there's no evidence to support it?
Absolutely. Why are you reporting the FBI story about the Russian connection when there's absolutely no evidence to support it? No evidence.
None.
You know what?
Live by your own rules, Franklin.
You let the Trump campaign are bordering on treason.
You just exampled the hypocrisy of the left.
You have lost your mind.
Thank you for your example of hypocrisy.
You have lost your mind if
So,
you think
we can't cover
representatives
that.
of a major political party engaged in a presidential campaign
your own rules.
Constantly dealing with the Russians while the president tells them to please hack the the opponents.
No evidence,
Did
Franklin.
Donald Trump say that?
Did Hillary
Did
Clinton?
Donald Trump say it?
I don't know. I wasn't there. You
weren't
weren't
watching
either.
it on television when he said it?
Said what, Franklin?
When he told the Russians to hack his opponent's campaign? You didn't see that, John?
Yeah, I saw an offhanded joke at a political rally.
Oh, it's always a joke.
You're right, Franklin.
For you.
You people have
You're
no
right.
sense of humor.
It is a really
You have no
hilarious
sense
joke.
of humor.
I think he was
The
making
entire Republican Party has become a joke.
No, you're the joke,
He was
Franklin.
making a joke about trying to find Hillary's email messages
Well,
that were lost.
Republican senator after Republican senator comes out and says, oh, heck yes, we ought to be investigating this. This is troubling. This is something we ought to be worried about. You're over here sitting on your hands going, oh, my God, the media is picking on a Republican.
I'm asking you
When
to
did
live
y'all
by your
get to
own
be
rules.
such pennyweights that you
you're
can't
mad.
even stand up to the
Look.
media and actually
What
deal with
media?
the facts?
What
The
media?
facts are
The
you've
lie-
got
the
a
lie
treasonous
media.
president right now.
Oh, you
That's
mean-
right. I'm saying it.
Franklin, here's the problem. You're yelling right now
I'm not
because
yelling, John.
you laid out
I
a
am simply pointing
position
out
that we
what a
could.
hypocrite
No,
you've
you
been
won't
on
let
this
anybody
issue.
talk because you
There
backed
is
yourself
nobody-
into a corner.
I'll let you talk all morning to start this, John. And the facts are,
Until you talked
the facts
yourself
are,
into a corner.
if any
You said,
Democrat
"Don't
had
cover it
done
if
one
there's
tenth
no
of
evidence."
this,
There's
you'd
no
be
evidence.
demanding that
No
they be
evidence.
prosecuted.
No
You'd
evidence.
be demanding it.
No evidence.
And you won't. I
You
guess
can't
not.
prosecute
While the
'cause there's no
president tries to
evidence.
shut the investigation
like
down.
Hillary wouldn't turn over and the State Department still
Oh, they
won't turn
turned it
over her
John.
emails?
They turned it over.
No, they still haven't, Franklin. We still don't have all
They
the State
have.
Department emails.
Yes, they have,
No,
John.
they haven't, Franklin. I'll
Fine,
give you the list.
investigate that too. Don't come
Well,
in
we
here and tell me
can't
there's no
because your
evidence
media people
when the
won't cover
president
that.
is bending over backwards trying
Franklin,
to stop
it's
the
not me saying
investigation.
there's no evidence. It's Dianne Feinstein saying there's no evidence. It's
Dianne Feinstein
Senator
did not
Manchin.
say that.
It's Senator. Yes, she did. They said, "Is there any evidence of collusion?"
she-
She said, "No. There's no evidence yet."
You're saying with the president himself. You're not getting to his campaign.
No, they said, "Is there any evidence of collusion with the campaign?" And she said, "No, not yet, but there's a lot of smoke."
Okay.
And I'm asking you
So
to
I'm
live.
asking you,
I'm
John,
asking you to
because
live
you're
by your
such a-
own rule.
You're such a law and order
No,
guy,
Franklin,
John.
I
No,
want
no,
you to
you're
be
such a law
logically
and order
honest.
guy. Please tell me, John, why it is that this president is so desperate to shut this investigation down.
Because he's tired of
Well,
hearing
because-
about
The
it.
point that he
Because
actually
he's
starting to feel
and
sorry
he
for the
pulled
Russians.
he pulled the FBI director out of a meeting and asked everybody else to leave the room so he could ask him to shut it down. So he called the head of the CIA and the National Intelligence Agency and asked them
Actually,
if they could
Brennan
get
said
the.
there had been no effort to cover it up or stifle the investigation.
Well, he was
Brennan
there.
actually testified
Well,
to that.
he was there.
He's Obama's guy. If there was anything there, he would have
He's not
said
been
it.
there since Trump
Well, actually,
sworn
the
in.
people that have been there now have said there's been
No,
no
they
effort
haven't.
to stifle it.
No, they haven't, John.
And
What are you
frankly,
talking about? This all happened after the.
Do you think
This all happened afterwards.
Do you think Trump and Russia are in cahoots together about
I
this?
think that there was high-level contacts between some members of his campaign.
You know what, Franklin?
No, let
There
me
was
answer
high
this
level
question,
between
John.
Hillary's campaign too.
That were inappropriate. I think they're desperate to cover that up.
Were they inappropriate when those same officials met with the Hillary Clinton campaign?
It's routine for there to be some communication,
Right.
John.
Right.
It's not routine for a president to ask the other side to hack his opponent.
In an
It's
open,
not-
it was a
It's
comment.
not-
He was making a
He was
comment about
joking.
the 30,000
It's not
lost
routine.
emails.
It's not routine for your national security agent director
30,000 lost emails.
to be removed
He
for
said
lying
maybe
about
the
his
Russians
contacts.
can find them for
It's
him.
not routine for
Is
your
that-
campaign manager to make millions and millions of dollars from the Russians. It's not routine for one of your political advisors to be doing the same thing.
Well,
There's
frankly,
nothing routine about that.
The Clinton Foundation made millions from allowing the Russians to buy a quarter of our uranium reserves in the United States while she was Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a hell of a lot worse national security problem to me.
What about the private meeting
And
on
the
the
media's
airplane?
not covering any of that.
What about the private meeting on the airplane?
Yeah, of course, we don't want to cover that.
The private meeting on the airplane.
Between Bill Clinton and the Attorney General, right before the FBI director announced, even though she violated the statute, there would be no criminal prosecution.
Okay, so let's
Anyway.
let's get this straight. Well, no, wait, let's get this straight. No, hold on.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
so this is what this comes down to. John says it's terribly inappropriate that meeting happened between the husband of a campaign and that person.
No,
Okay,
the husband,
fine,
the husband is someone
fine, I'll
being
give you
investigated.
that. Fine, I'll give you that. But you don't have any problems at all with the president asking the FBI director to shut an investigation down
He didn't ask him
directly.
to shut the investigation
Yes, he
down.
did.
He said again, I think he's
I
incredibly...
think he wants to get on with it. If you haven't got something, let's get it over with. Let's find it or
He
talk
is
about it.
Now we
or
know,
move
now
on.
we know even further. He reached out to 2 other administration officials.
How long do you think we're
and
going to
asked
have an
them to shut
investigation
it
with
down.
no proof? How long
There's
do we
no
have an
proof.
You've got
investigation
more
with no
proof every
proof?
week.
There's no
And they
proof
all
at
did
all.
memos
None.
about
There's
the-
no
There's
proof
no
at
proof.
all.
Tell me what
There's
proof
no
is there?
proof.
What proof is there?
Yesterday, the National Security Advisor took the Fifth Amendment, for God's sakes. What are you talking
Well,
about?
look, I don't like the Fifth. I never have. But
Whether you like it or
won't
not.
you won't find a single defense attorney that will tell you that wasn't the right thing for him
I
to
didn't
do.
say it wasn't the right thing
Because
for him
with
to do.
the environment that you and MSNBC and all of the hacks at CNN have created, he's afraid anything he says will be twisted around
Because
and
we
used
already
against
know
him.
that he's lied. We already know that.
And he's
You
not in
know it.
government, and he's not in the administration, and they fired him.
And that they knew about it for months before they hired him.
Well, Franklin, look, he said, I made a mistake, and they booted his butt out. Fired.
Knew about it for months and just chose to ignore it.
Well, Franklin,
Well, who does that?
well, I don't know. Obama knew that the Iranians are violating the agreements we signed with them and
Trump
chose to ignore it.
administration said this week, y'all didn't report that, of course, that they were complying with
They
the
are
agreement.
compliant because it's
Well,
such
you
a
said
poor.
they violated it.
No, I said the spirit. It is such a poorly written agreement, Franklin. You can't enforce it
They said they're complying with it.
because it's
It's
so
another
poorly
one
written.
of your conspiracy
No,
myths you're
Franklin.
following.
Well, here's the point, Franklin. What you got all
Well, the
animated
point
about was
is,
you
it does
said
not matter
that
what
Sean
they
Hannity.
do, you'll
Are you
ignore
going to
it.
let me say this?
I'd
You
rather
said
not,
that
John.
Sean Hannity shouldn't be covering what he's covering because there's no evidence yet. All I said was you should live by the same standard,
I am
and
living
you
by
blew a gasket because there's no evidence in the
Because
Russian.
What
You're
is
willing
Sean? What
to
is Sean
overlook
Hannity?
all of this.
What has Sean Hannity been saying?
He's now taking the position that some guy who worked for the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, who supposedly supplied some information to WikiLeaks, all right, that he was murdered by some conspiracy involving the Democratic National Committee.
Look, there's absolutely no evidence of that
None.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I think it probably did happen that way. Look, he
course
was
you do.
shot in the back,
course
in
you
the
do.
middle of the street, a week and a half after he turned over a huge trove of documents to WikiLeaks. His watch wasn't taken, his wallet wasn't taken, his credit cards weren't taken, nothing was taken, and he was shot in the back. Now explain that, Franklin. How often does that just happen?
Well, generally speaking, John, if you were going to go to such an extreme, wouldn't one do it to prevent the release of the information, not after it's happened?
Well, you do it to punish him after you found out. They didn't know it was happening until it was done, and they had him knocked off. I personally think there's a good chance that'll turn out to be true.
So we actually know without a doubt.
No, I would never say that on
wait,
national TV.
We know without a doubt
That
that
Russia
especially
did
the
not
Trump
help Trump.
campaign had strong financial ties to the Russians, and that
And
they
so
were
did
engaged
people
in
in
those
Hillary's
discussions.
campaign. Actually, so
Strong
did John
financial
Podesta.
ties.
So did John
And that they're
Podesta.
trying to stop the investigation.
By the way, Franklin,
and you think there's something
John
wrong about
Podesta
that?
didn't report his dealings with the Russian government either. John Podesta had, I think, tens of millions of dollars worth of benefit through a Russian company that he failed to report on his ethics reports. And he was one of the top people in Hillary's campaign. Are you investigating that as steadily?
If he
Can-
were
can I-
involved in the White House, I certainly would be.
Can I just step
Well,
in here? a minute?
fortunately, he's not involved in the White House.
Yes, we're in
Because you
such
all lost.
we're in such better hands
Because
now.
you all lost.
Can I just step in here a minute? Do you think that we might have 2 weeks without talking about Russia on
No,
television?
you're not going to have.
They're
You're not.
such
You'll be
sore
lucky.
losers.
You'll be
They
lucky
can't
if
let
you
Trump
get
have
2
it.
years. Because guess what? More and more Republicans are jumping on that bandwagon too, and he knows it's true.
I tell you, I'm starting to feel sorry for Russia. I promise you I am.
Yeah.
I am so tired of hearing this crap about Russia.
Well, you bet you're going to get a lot
Have
tired
you
of
heard
it.
anything about the IT experts that had all of the House Intelligence Committee members' computer networks that has now fled to Pakistan, is under protection of the Pakistani government? And now the concerns are that they're actually blackmailing the Democratic congressman.
What is it?
I talked about this about a month and a half ago. This is a good example of what I'm talking about. This is stuff that we know.
Okay.
These guys were the House IT guys for a list of close to 30 Democratic congressmen that served on the intelligence committees, congressmen that served on the armed services committees. And they found out they were stealing property. They were downloading all of the files. They worked for Debbie Wasserman Schultz since 2005. Not a single one of these congressmen will comment on this. They've now fled the country and are living in Pakistan under the protection of the Pakistani government. They were paid over $4 million. They were being paid more than House congressional members were being paid, which is actually a violation of the law. They had multiple family members on the payroll who never showed up for work. None of this is being reported, but we're all over this Russia thing, which there's no actual evidence of.
None of this is being reported, but John, with his top secret classification clearance,
Franklin,
got the information for you.
It's being reported in a few conservative sites.
I had to ask you what he was talking
the one
about.
that has broken nearly all of these stories.
I can tell you everything's happened about Russia, nothing, and I can't tell you anything about that.
How can you tell us that?
Because nothing's happened.
How can you tell us that? How do you know what was being discussed at that point? What do we know? We know that the Republicans were only leaking the information about the Clinton campaign. Why would they do that, Steve?
Wait a minute.
Why would they do that?
They were leaking the information about the Clinton campaign to whom?
The public.
So you didn't want the public to know the truth.
I simply said, they didn't leak it. They didn't leak everybody's.
I want to
emails.
respond to your comment. Who lied?
There's not a lie in that.
Oh, Hillary didn't send 30,000 emails to what's his name laptop that she forgot about. Who was the liar?
She did not do
Who was the liar, Franklin? Who got caught in all the lies?
Said that she did not do that.
Well, do you think that cost Hillary the election because she lied and it came out?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't think it did. I think she just got her butt beat.
Okay.
I don't think she had did a very good politics. You know, way back years ago when I told you Hillary'd be a joke, you told me, you said, she'll win this thing going away. You'll eat those words. Well, I'm not eating them.
Well, you're not.
She's
you
a joke.
won, and you own it.
And she's a joke.
Okay. I'm not here talking. I'm not here.
She's a crooked joke.
I'm not trying to elect Hillary Clinton today.
All right. What do you think about Trump?
Not enough people tried to elect her in the fall.
Well, a majority of Americans did. So let's not make fun of that.
Actually, if you take away the cities on the West Coast and the East, New York City,
those aren't
and
Americans,
Los Angeles,
John?
Well, I don't know, Franklin. The state of California, surprise, surprise, is moving into single-payer health care. And you know what they found out? It's going to cost $400 billion a year, more than twice their total current budget. So you know what, Franklin? I don't want the people in Los Angeles picking the president for me.
Last time I checked, Americans were Americans, John. I think that's really the divide between the parties at this point. You believe otherwise.
No, the divide is the urban and rural. That's actually a divide. It's the people who live in the city versus the people who feed the people who live in the city.
All right, we're going to take a break because I don't want to start
Daniel
anything
Midland
else before we take a break. So I'll see you in a few
Monsanto.
minutes. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson. We'll be right back after this.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Check into cash. The cash you need today is waiting for you at Check Into Cash. It's your money, so come in and get it.
Get a payday advance today for up to $425. At Check Into Cash, we make it quick, easy, and confidential.
The cash you need is right here, so stop worrying and stop in to Check Into Cash today.
Borrowers often use payday advances over a period of months, which can be expensive. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, Hey folks, Glenn here from U.S. Money Shops. If you think all pawn shops are dark and dreary, then you haven't been to U.S. Money Shops. From hard-to-find items to unique jewelry to the latest electronics, we have it. And guns, we have a huge selection of guns in a variety of colors from a variety of manufacturers. And when you buy any gun at U.S. Money Shops, you get a box of ammo and a case absolutely free. So come see what I'm talking about. Any of our 12 U.S. Money Shops locations in Tennessee and Georgia. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Buy or sell or buy today. The better way at U.S. Money Shops.
No dealers allowed.
Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933, offering the best with over 70 styles of recliners, sofas, electronic lift chairs, full living room packages. Call Mike now at 961-7239 because Jackson Catnapper now offers sales to the public
every Saturday. That's right, every Saturday.
From 8 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Or call Mike at 961-7239. Or go see him
every Saturday
at 1911 King Edward Avenue, just across from the main plant. Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933. 961-7239.
No dealers allowed.
Are you unhappy with your current television service provider? Whether you're on cable or a DirecTV satellite system, well, call Tech-Centric Installation. That's Dennis at Tech-Centric Installation, 2398 Blue Springs Road, right here in Cleveland. He is now your local retailer for Dish Network. Why call another state or sign up from some telemarketer calling from who knows where when you can talk to someone right here in Cleveland, shake his hand, meet him, set an appointment, find out why his 15 years of experience will create the perfect package for you. Don't pay too much and don't have to pay more down the road. Dish Network right here in your backyard with packages starting at only $55 a month with HBO free for 12 months with a 2-year price lock. So if you want to get your new updated, great state-of-the-art television service package, get it right here from Dish Network now with your own local person in Dennis Powell, or we call him Dish Dr. Dennis at Tech-Centric Installation, 2398 Blue Springs Road. Call him now, 834-9933. That's 834-9933. Ask for Triple D. That's Dish Dr. Dennis for your Dish Network home entertainment needs. 834-9933. Call Dennis at Tech-Centric Installation. Financial Recovery, licensed and bonded collection agency, located right here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Give them a call at 423-473-7670. Small town service with big city results. A full service medical, commercial, retail, and individual collection service. Celebrating 10 years in business. Call Financial Recovery at 423-473-7670 to help you with your accounts receivable and past due invoices. Financial Recovery, 423-473-7670.
Why would you put up with a heating and cooling system that cycles on and off when you can have quiet, true comfort, variable speed by train? It runs at low speeds with continuous little adjustments to keep your home comfortable and quiet. It's always been hard to stop a train. Now, it's hard to hear one.
When you want an unconventionally efficient heating and air unit that keeps your home right in the comfort zone, day in and day out, nothing will do but a Train. To get the best Train service, call your local Train comfort specialist. Mechanical Systems, 336-5739. Keeping you comfortable is Mechanical Systems' only business, and they've been providing high-quality service and installation for more than 30 years. Mechanical Systems, 336-5739. That's 336-5739.
It's hard to stop a train.
Did your HVAC system need spring maintenance? Call Mechanical Systems before May 31st, and they'll waive the $20 service call charge.
You're listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson on Whoop FM. Call 423-614-5553 to join in on the conversation. Now, back to Backfire.
The views expressed on Backfire do not necessarily reflect those of Whoop FM.
Oh, my goodness. What do you think about Trump's speech this week? Take one of them. What do you think about the apology tour that Obama gave versus Trump's speech?
Well, I mean, I think you don't have to listen to the speech. You just have to look at the reception that he got. The last time Obama went to Saudi Arabia, not only did they not roll the red carpet out, and I mean literally roll the red carpet out, the king didn't even meet him at the plane. He had to walk across the tarmac by himself into the building. In Trump's case, they rolled the red carpet all the way to the steps. The king was standing out in the hot sun waiting on him to come down. And here's something that really gets me about the liberals. They're so locked into their ideology. Melania and Ivanka and the female interpreter did not wear headscarves. The last time the Obamas were there, Michelle Obama wore a headscarf. You have no idea what that says to the Saudi Arabian women both ways. When the president's wife wore the headscarf with Obama, it says, we're not going to champion you. We're not going to push for equal rights for you. When Melania and Ivanka got off that plane, not only did they not wear a headscarf, but the king shook their hands. That says a world to the women in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Let's back up for just a moment.
Okay.
I was about to say some good things about the president.
But you can't stand.
But then John went off into La La Land.
Hurry.
Completely ignoring facts.
Wait a minute. Did Trump bow when he took
Yes,
it?
he did, actually.
He bowed when
He did.
He had to bend over so that king could put that
Just
thing around
telling
his
you,
neck.
if Obama did it, he'd be having a
Obama
connection.
did it when he shook
Hold
his
on,
hand.
hold on. All right. Donald Trump. Not anybody else. Donald Trump, during the campaign in last year, said it was horrible how disrespectful Michelle Obama was for not wearing a headscarf.
Hold
Hold on.
Thing that they chose not
I
to.
agree with you, John. I am simply pointing out that when Obama did it, y'all thought it was
Frankly,
bad.
that wasn't what I was pointing out.
No.
I actually didn't say it was bad. What I'm saying is, what kills me is that the liberal feminists, instead of taking that and going, wow, this is a really good thing, they're so eaten up with their hatred of Trump, they can't even see the great thing that happened.
Oh, they saw that. They just saw the stark hypocrisy involved in the very person who was so critical of somebody else's conduct for doing the exact same thing, now wanting to be praised for it. Now, hold on. I personally thought the president gave a good speech. But what did he not do? He didn't use the magic words, radical Islamic terrorists.
He said, run them out of your country.
No. The point is, y'all said it had to be used. It was a travesty that the previous president didn't use those magic words. Now when your guy doesn't do it, it's ho-ho.
No, Frank,
No,
you're missing
that's
the
all
point.
we're saying,
He
John.
backed up his
It's the
rhetoric with
reason
strong talk. I don't care whether he uses that term if he's actually being strict. The problem was Obama, that was the least we expected out of him, the very least. And Franklin, here's my point.
No, the
These
point
feminists
is,
that you just defended because they
I'm not defending anything.
No, wait a minute, you did.
I'm telling you the president
Franklin,
said it was a mistake
You're
to
right.
do exactly what his
But
wife
let
and
me
daughter
explain
did,
this
which
to you.
is the truth.
Let me show you where you all are so misguided. You're saying, oh, well, the feminists, they were just struck by the hypocrisy. Well, guess what? If you're a woman living in Saudi Arabia and you're beaten for walking out of the house without your headscarf on, you don't have the luxury of complaining about hypocrisy. You're simply glad someone in the free world stood up for you.
Okay.
And your liberal, feminist, socialist, progressives are so strong,
you got
they
the
can't
facts
see
wrong,
that.
John. First of all, you got the facts wrong, and that's where you got off the wrong track. The facts are that when Michelle Obama showed up there, she did not wear a headscarf. So that should have been equally powerful to those people that you're talking about. Instead, what happened was you guys savaged her for it.
The last time she
So
was there,
the problem is that you guys cheering for feminism is about the most ironic thing in history.
Once again, we're not going to worry ourselves with what actually happened on the ground.
Have you seen Obama's speech and Trump's speech when they put them side by side?
Sure.
What do you think?
Listen. Here's what I will give the president credit for.
Okay.
I think he had or his team at least, had an actual strategy for what they wanted to do in the Middle East.
Why would you say that, his team? That's
Honestly,
Trump
John,
derangement syndrome.
No,
you
it's
couldn't
not.
just make the statement. You had to make sure and take some credit away from Trump himself, didn't you?
Yes.
You couldn't just make the statement, could you?
Yes. Why?
Because you're deranged against losing the election in the fall.
No, because this president did on this trip exactly the opposite of what he said he was going to do in the campaign. So am I supposed to give him credit for that?
He said he was a negotiator and he would make things happen. And when you're a negotiator, you have to move on the fly.
Okay, whatever.
Well, look, Robert Gates,
do you
Obama's
want the
own
praise for
Secretary
him
of
or not,
Defense.
or do you just want to listen to yourself?
No, I want to hear the praise. Go ahead. Give me some more. Give me some more. Give me some more.
They have apparently decided that they're going to back the Sunnis in the Middle East in their conflict with the Shia. Now, that may be good, it may be bad. I don't know yet. But it's a strategy that at least they appear to be implementing. And that's the reason why they were bending over backwards trying to court the Saudis, if you will, right now, because that's what the Saudis want them to do.
And the 50 other Sunni nations that were at the forum.
Well, but the Sunnis are also a minority in the Middle East, so that didn't work.
Frankly,
in terms
here's
of
the
the
problem
number
with
of
you saying that.
countries.
You're right, but what you're doing is you're leaving out the context. Who are the Shias? The Iranians, who are killing everyone over there and pursuing nuclear weapons so they can kill more. There's no opportunity except through the Sunnis. And unfortunately for you all, your genius, Obama, wasn't able to figure that out over an 8-year period.
Well, okay, John, it wasn't Obama.
It was Obama
It wasn't
that pulled
Obama.
out of a successful Iraq.
It wasn't Obama who purged all the Sunnis out of the military and government in Iraq. I believe that guy's name was Bush.
You're right.
Okay.
And Bush made plenty of mistakes, but when he left office, Iraq was stable and in good shape.
Yeah.
And Obama
Stable is a different
precipitously
question.
pulled all our troops out and allowed it to collapse and allowed the rise of ISIS, all on his watch.
Well, it wasn't stable because the Sunnis were still a festering problem that they hadn't addressed.
I'm going back to my original question. You've seen Obama's speech and Trump's speech side by side.
Mhm.
How do you compare them?
They had a different philosophy for what needs to happen in the Middle East. That's going to happen.
So Obama, he talked about that he knew Islam on 3 continents.
Okay.
And that he spoke about the Quran. How do you pronounce Quran? He spoke about the Quran some.
Well, Trump in his speech called it a great faith. If Obama said that, y'all would have savaged him for it. So what's the difference? That's the question we have. This is
Because
I'm
Trump
not
has
really
enforced Obama's own red
I'm not-
line.
I'm
Because
not-
he has something to move
I'm not
from.
really troubled by the fact that politicians have different viewpoints about things. I do get troubled when one of them does the exact same thing as the other that they criticize the other guy for doing.
Well,
I mean, much of what Trump has done could have come out of the Obama campaign playbook.
Yeah, if they had
Like
transplanted a spine in Obama.
Yeah, like what?
Look, Robert Gates, Obama's own defense secretary, this is his direct words about the speech. It clearly set us on a different and, in my view, better path than President Obama's Cairo speech. Okay. That's Bob Gates, Obama's, and he was there when he made the speech. He continued, one of the things I liked about the speech, and this is where you miss, Franklin, is it put the onus it placed on the governments of Islamic countries. They need to take steps internally and be more aggressive in rooting these people out. That's Gates basically telling you that Trump has a completely different approach.
But you also forget that much of the terrorism that was happening around the Middle East had been financed by the Saudis in the past. And that's the circumstance that Obama was facing when he was there.
Well, after 9/11...
I mean, the 9/11 hijackers were largely financed by who? The Saudis.
There have been a total of 95 incidences since 9/11. After the implementation of Bush's strategy, which the liberals tore apart, there was a grand total of 27 terror attacks and plots, almost all of them foiled. After the end of the Bush administration, the numbers skyrocketed, with 68 plots or attacks recorded since then. Since just the summer of 2014, when Obama allowed ISIS to explode, there have been huge increases in the number of attacks all over the world. The strategy that our current president is putting in place is that we are going to go after these people. That's what you saw with the rocket attack in Syria. That's what you saw with the mother of all bombs dropped in Afghanistan. And, you know, Franklin's people started arguing over the effectiveness in the moment. It's the message that he's sending. And Franklin, that's one of the reasons why it's not as important that he didn't say those exact words, because he's got a plan in place that actually has some backbone to it.
Look, John, criticizing the policy is one thing, but acknowledge that your guy said something completely different. And that's what he got elected on. He got elected on saying the opposite and now doing the opposite.
Tell me what you're talking about.
Oh, it was just terrible.
What did he not
Obama doesn't say radical Islamic terrorists. And then he goes for his first. No,
what did he say in the place of it?
Who?
Trump.
Extremists in the Muslim faith, or something like that.
Losers.
Yes, he made them the moral equivalency
You're
of
right.
Rosie O'Donnell.
We're willing to accept loser in place of extremist terrorists. I mean, look, Franklin, the point is he adopted a extremely harsh tone towards them and said, we're not going to tolerate this. They're losers. We're going to fight them no matter what, and we're going to defeat them. That's something Obama. I'll give you the Pulse nightclub.
Let me give you an example.
Okay,
This is. You think it's Trump derangement syndrome. It's not that. It's that we can't figure out what you guys' position actually is because it shifts so often.
Well, and I
hold on. Obama, whether you agree with this policy or not.
You're not supposed to figure it out.
Whether you agree with this policy or not, was very candid about criticizing a lot of these Arab states for their human rights record. Okay? You had the Commerce Secretary for Donald Trump this week go on to say, God, it was just amazing. There wasn't a single protest sign up here, not one voice of dissent while we were here. It was so nice.
Was he at Berkeley University?
That's because you get beheaded in Saudi Arabia if you come out with a protest sign criticizing the government.
Well, maybe we ought to do that here.
No.
I'm tired of Russia. I'm tired of all these protests.
Look,
what about the walkout at graduation in Notre Dame? How do you feel about that?
They felt threatened. They felt like his presence threatened them.
Why are these kids doing this kind of stuff?
Well, there's two things going on.
All right.
Number one, I agree with you about these protests. Not protests, I'll take that back. I'm perfectly happy with the protests. What I don't agree with is banning speakers and things like that. I think that's the wrong thing.
We've got one college where they're demanding that they ban the college Republicans from campus.
I think that's the wrong approach to be taken. I think there ought to be more debate and engagement between these folks. But number two, whether you like it or not, the attitudes of younger people in this generation are not mirroring the views that you have, and they're changing rapidly. And those are the ones you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, but here's your problem.
At the end of this show,
as they get older,
the end of this show, I'm going to play something for everybody to listen to after we're through about the kids of yesterday, and then you can talk about.
Franklin, I'll tell you, Winston Churchill had a comment that was very good for what you just said. Franklin's right. These young kids have some very divergent views from conservative thought. But Churchill said, if you're in your 20s and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're in your 30s and you're not a conservative, you have no brain. Let me read you the two statements. This is actually side by side. Okay, so we just had these people, a man and probably a cell, murder young girls in Manchester, England.
Right.
Trump said they were murdered by evil losers in life. This wicked ideology must be obliterated, and I mean completely obliterated. Life must be protected. So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers in life. I won't call them monsters because they would like that term. They would think that's a great name. I will call them from now on losers because that's what they are. They're losers, and we'll have more of them, but they're losers. Just remember that. Now, the Pulse nightclub shooting, Obama said that he couldn't make, now this is a quote, no definitive judgment on the precise motivations of the killer, but they'll spare no effort to determine what, if any, inspiration or association this killer may have had with terrorist groups. He also wanted to take that case to remind how easy it is for someone to get their hands on a gun and shoot people, and then we need gun control. So, frankly,
that's a wonderful thought, John.
That was his response to a major terrorist attack.
What was the White House's response to the inquiry about why the president didn't say radical Islamic terrorism in his speech? What was their response?
Because he was in the Middle East and he didn't want to offend.
That's not what they said, John. The official statement from the White House, what was it?
Did you get it from CNN?
I didn't see the official statement.
There was one. They released one. You know what it was?
What?
The president was exhausted from his trip. And didn't say it right.
Look, he didn't have to. With the other things he said, Franklin, there is a world of difference between the way he talked and the way Obama talked. And you can't defend that. Obama apologized, said it was America's fault. Bob Gates even said that this is a different direction in the speech and a better direction.
I agree with you, John. I am just asking for a little consistency.
Well, let's talk about something besides Russia then.
Well, at least until there's a fact on the board.
That's not going to happen until the president decides that the approach to take to get rid of that is to say, everything's open, here it is.
I thought that was all going to happen once they had a special counsel, which they now have. And immediately your people started going, well, that's not enough.
I didn't say that's not enough.
The Democrats did. In Congress, they demanded a special counsel. As soon as they got a special counsel, they said, well, now we need a commission, too.
Franklin, I think what it is, it's pretty obvious that there's a lot of never-Trumpers that are still crying and shedding tears, and they just can't get over anything, and they try to make something out of nothing because they don't have anything to talk about. Why don't we talk about our country and move forward instead of try to pull it backwards? You know, I remember the day when Democrats and Republicans had issues, but they at least worked together to resolve things for the betterment of the country.
Do you know why that was? Do you know why you remember that?
Anymore.
Do you know why you remember that?
Why?
Because it was when we had a Democrat president and a Democrat Congress, and it was Republicans stepping up to the plate and trying to work together. Now that you've got Democrats in the minority, they are completely unable and unwilling to work together.
I mean, really and truly, don't you think we ought to work together a little more?
Sure.
Well, what does it take?
Why don't the president focus on some things that we have common interest in?
Why don't we?
You mean like family leave?
Like infrastructure.
Like family leave that family leave that he just proposed.
Yes.
Okay.
That's something you all have asked for. I personally think it's not a good thing, but he's put it forward. Where are all the news coverage of the Democratic leaders making statements about how great that'll be? They're too busy making statements about non-existent facts about a Russian collusion story.
Well, they're also making statements about all the different areas that were being cut in the budget.
Because we're going broke.
We can't give it away forever.
Thanks to Republican tax policy, we're going broke.
No, we're going broke because of Obama busted the budget. I'll be glad to give you the graphs, Franklin.
I'd love to see those graphs about percentage increases in spending by president. I'd love to see that one, John.
Well, we probably don't have enough time to talk about budget today, do we? What's going on in Chicago right now?
People are being killed by thugs.
Well, is military moving in? Somebody told me that there's a lot of military moving into Chicago right now. Is there a move being made?
What do you mean moving in?
Military trucks are moving towards Chicago.
You can't do that. That's against the law.
Okay. Well, what would happen if military law was declared in Chicago?
Well, we don't
Could you do that?
We don't have a king anymore, so we can't do
Actually,
that.
what can happen and what would have to happen is the mayor of Chicago, or actually I take that back, the governor of Illinois would have to declare a state of emergency, and then he can request the National Guard. And then the president would then turn around and authorize the National Guard to go in. Or the president can authorize the National Guard on the front end, but the governor has to request it, which I might point out, during Hurricane Katrina, Bush authorized the National Guard in Louisiana 3 days before the hurricane hit, and the Democrat governor and Democrat mayor of New Orleans never asked for them. That's why they weren't there to help with the hurricane, because the Democrat governor didn't ask. It's worse this year than it was last year.
Yeah,
more murders so far this year than last year.
They don't want any help though, do they? The Chicago, they don't.
Well, you've got Democrat administrations in most of these big cities where you have violent crime rates that are just skyrocketing. You have extremely strict gun control measures in all of these big cities where crime is skyrocketing. And now you've got wonderful things like Seattle. Again, a Democratic administration. Police can no longer call people they've arrested suspects. They have to call them community members. And after they're convicted, they have to call them students.
After they're convicted.
Last fall, the Washington Department of Corrections stopped calling inmates offenders and started calling them students. So if you shoot people, you're a community member on the run. If you've been tried, convicted of a crime, and sent to jail, you're a student. That's Democrat progressive policy for you.
Here's a Mississippi lawmaker saying that whoever supported to remove the Confederate monuments should be lynched. That's Carl Oliver's, Mississippi.
Can't imagine why anybody would think there's inherent racism.
And
after
what?
that comment.
Well, look, it's a stupid comment, Franklin, but it's not a stupid thing to be doing. It's a horrible thing to be doing, to be erasing our history.
I think the speech that was given by the New Orleans mayor this week illuminated that issue very well. He said, I think it's fine that you want to display our history, but nobody ever wants to display the negative parts of the history right beside the positive parts.
So, but he didn't offer to do that. But he didn't offer to do that. He took the history down. Condoleezza Rice, a black woman who suffered.
Says they're going to move it to a different place,
Franklin,
and they're going to have a balanced.
Go back and read 1984.
Okay.
Because that's the road we're headed down with, and it's social progressives who want to redo the speech codes. They want to redo our history. And the problem is, someone like you might look at what they're doing and go, I'm okay with all of that right now, but your people may not be in control down the line. And that is nothing but a step towards totalitarianism. That's what Kim Jong-un does in North Korea. He redoes the history to fit what he wants it to fit. So congratulations, you and your social progressive buddies are in lockstep with the dictator of North Korea.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to end the show. I'm going to play a little segment that'll last a couple of minutes, and then we'll just say a few things about that, and that'll be the end of the day. But I want you to put on your headsets, and everybody listen closer. This is from the 60s. This is a Dragnet, Jack Webb and Joe Friday talking to a teenager.
You just don't understand.
Maybe we do, son. Don't think you have a corner on all of virtue vision in the country, or that everybody else is fat and selfish and you're the first generation to come along that's felt dissatisfied. They all have, you know, about different things, and most of them didn't have the same opportunity and freedoms that you do. Let's talk poverty. Most places in the world, that's not a problem. It's a way of life. And rights, they're liable to give you a blank stare because they may not know what you're talking about. The fact is, more people are living better right here than anywhere else ever before in history. So don't expect us to roll over and play dead when you say you're dissatisfied. It's not perfect, but it's a great deal better than when we grew up. 100 men standing in the street hoping for one job, selling apples on the street corner. That's one of the things we were dissatisfied about, and you don't see that much anymore.
You're taller, stronger, healthier, better educated, and you live longer than the last generation. And we don't think that's altogether bad. You've probably never seen a quarantine sign on your neighbor's door. Diphtheria, scarlet fever, whooping cough. Probably none of your classmates are crippled with polio. You don't see many mastoid scars anymore. We've done quite a bit of fighting all around the world. Whether you think it was moral or not, a lot of people are free today to make their own mistakes because of it. And that may just include you.
I don't know. Maybe part of it's the fact that you're in a hurry. You've grown up on instant orange juice. Flip a dial, instant entertainment. Dial 7 digits, instant communication. Turn a key, push a pedal, instant transportation. Flash a card, instant money. Shove in a problem, push a few buttons, instant answers. But some problems you can't get quick answers to, no matter how much you want them. We took a little boy into Central Receiving Hospital yesterday. He was 4 years old. He weighs 8.5 pounds. His parents just haven't bothered to feed him.
Now, give me a fast answer to that one. One that'll stop that from ever happening again. And if you can't settle that one, what about the 55,000 Americans who will die on the highways this year? That's nearly 6 or 7 times the number that'll get killed in Vietnam. Why aren't you up in arms about that? Or is dying in a car somehow moral? Tell me how to wipe out prejudice. I'll settle for just the prejudices you have inside yourselves. Show me how to get rid of the unlimited capacity for human beings to make themselves believe that they're somehow right and justified in stealing from somebody or hurting somebody. And you'll just about put this place here out of business. I don't think that we're telling you to lose your ideals or your sense of outrage. They're the only way things ever get done. And there's a lot that still needs doing, and we hope you'll tackle it. You don't have to do anything dramatic like trying to come up with a better country. You can find enough to keep you busy right here. While you're at it, don't break things up in the name of progress or crack a placard stick over somebody's head to help him see the light. Be careful of his rights, because your property and your person and your rights aren't any better than his. And next time you may be the one to get it. We remember a man who killed 6 million people and called it social improvement. So hang in. Don't try to build a new country. Make the old one work. It has for over 400 years, and by the world's standards, that's hardly more than yesterday.
Dun, 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 dun. That was another good old show from the 60s, and when you hear them talk and you talk about some of the statistics they were talking about there, it's kind of interesting in today's time. The fast track. How many channels on television did they watch?
3.
But anyway, the times were moving fast back then, but now it's like light speed.
Wow, sounds like progressive vaccination programs and progressive highway safety standards made a big difference for the country, didn't it?
Perfect. All right, that's all this week. We'll see you next week on another edition of Backfire.
You've been listening to Backfire.